Well, hello everyone, and I'm so glad that you came today to honor the memory of Bob Adams. I like to say, what can I say about Bob Adams that he hasn't already said himself? Bob loved to talk. As a matter of fact, if there was a nickname, he said one of his nicknames was Dirty Bob because of some of his practices that he used when he was a salesman. Now, if you knew Bob at all, you had to just kind of overlook some of the things that he said as being embellished. Uh, Bob was a great storyteller, and even in his post conversion time, Bob knew how to tell a story, whether or not it was over describing even the presence of the Lord in a worship service, or if it was talking about how that he had different sales experiences that he may have had, and we don't know. But Bob came to us through the ministry that Gil Clonch and Phyllis had brought to us, McRest. And this is my first introduction to Bob Adams. And he was a homeless man. And when the church participated in the McRest ministry, Bob came and lived in our church for a week and then moved on. However, on a Wednesday night, he came to church as was offered to everyone that was a resident with us at McCrest that week. And during that time, Bob, his curiosity was piqued. And so in time, discovered that Bob was living as a homeless man. He had timed out of the McRest system, and actually we discovered that he was living in behind Walmart, the closed Walmart store on 12 Mile. But in the greatness of our God, Bob became a man of God. I have no doubts at all that if there's a scripture that to me that applies to Bob Adams, it is in Psalm 100 that says, "Serve the Lord with gladness." In all the time that Bob lived in the church, and in the time that the men had come to me about inviting him to live in the church building, Bob never one time, at least to me, or to any of the men that were involved, ever asked anyone for money. This is certainly not my experience with many people that have had homeless, the plight of homelessness being a part of their life. So Bob moved into the church building and became what I called a sexton. A sexton is an old English word that only applies to a man in the old days, in the old country, in England, that actually lived in and took care of God's house. Now, of course, in true Bob Adams fashion, it wasn't always up to our standards the way that he took care of God's house. However, he was there. And I enjoyed many, many conversations with Bob, both spiritual and everyday. I loved getting to take him to a Tigers game, which he was forever grateful about. I loved more than anything having the opportunity to see him be baptized in water and to make his confession of faith one that was real. And so Bob, probably to the day he died, probably never would have qualified to be in church leadership, what we think of, but certainly Bob Adams was and is a man of God. I pray that I will aspire to be the kind of man that would be willing to serve the Lord with gladness all the days of my life. May God bless you.